Hey, everybody. Welcome to One Email, Two Takes, episode 6. Don't hold up your broken finger. Will, don't hold it up. I'm excited to be here today. Again, if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Christina Finseth. I lead growth marketing at a company called Interseller, which is a prospecting and outreach platform for recruiters. And I also happen to be an advisor at Lavender.
Yes, and I'm Will Allred. I'm one of the co-founders at Lavender. And part of the fun in One Email, Two Takes is I get to take the learnings from the millions of emails that we see per month. We're a real-time email assistant for salespeople. And so I get to apply them back into real-world examples. And so today, we actually have an example that I received and had a blast giving this rep some feedback because as you can see here, there's quite a bit that's going on with it. So I will try to read through this as quickly as possible. As you can see, my feedback is probably going to really focus on the length and the lack of brevity in this email. And so subject line, introduction, and then it's the company name. Hi, Will. Pardon the cold outreach. Nice to meet you. As a leader in the product org, I thought you may be interested in learning how we help product teams like yours understand user behavior and boost digital engagement at scale across their platforms. We most often fit in as a solution for product teams to gather relevant product feedback in a quick, scalable way, identify and take action on points of friction in the user experience, drive overall digital engagement and adoption throughout the customer lifecycle, resulting in increased product adoption and faster time to value for end users. If any of this sounds relevant to your current efforts, we'd welcome the opportunity to connect and share where something like product can align. Would you be opposed to a quick introduction this week? P.S. Now, until October 31st, 2021, we are offering a complimentary on-demand company name essential course valued at $500 per seat. I'd be more than happy, I'm sure you would, to share more with you during our conversation. Whew. Okay. Oh, Christina, I'm a little out of breath. Do you want to take a first pass at this?
I mean, okay, yes. Yes, on all fronts. I think the biggest thing here, especially, with me coming from the marketing side and the SDR side, this reads like a marketing email, right? It doesn't feel like a one-to-one. It feels like a one-to-many. And the bullet points gave it away, as well as the offer in the PS statement. The first thing that comes to mind is as you were reading it out loud, Will, the very first paragraph, as a leader in the product org, I already zoned out. Like I was zoning out on that because it was a lot of verbiage. Yeah, it was like, whew, okay, that was a lot to try to digest just in that, right? And so, yeah, it reads more like a marketing email. I really think those bullet points could all be separate emails, right? Like here are all the different things that we fit into, but let's make it a story across a series of emails versus, whoa, that was a lot.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My first question to the rep that sent me to this is, how do you expect to follow up to this? Like you've spilled everything out there, and so now you've got nothing left except for to just ask, was it not interesting? Was it interesting? And then you're just continuously following up on the exact same, notion of like, I'm guessing I didn't quite hit a chord. So yeah, the other piece that you brought up, like as a leader in the product org, that is one sentence. Like this is the longest, most verbose thing on the planet. One of the things that we track in Lavender is the clarity level of the writing. What's the reading level? This is obviously written beyond a 12th grade reading level because of just the absolute, just like syllable count that's everywhere throughout this note. Like it might not seem like these are complicated words: product, thought, interesting, learning, product again, understand, behavior, boost digital engagement, platforms. But all of those things together in one sentence makes for just this absolute word salad that's like impossible to sort through. And so as a seller, you have to be mindful of the fact that the average reading time is 11 seconds. And so this is just like so much for someone to want to go through. Like the only positive feedback I had was the subject line is short. I was like, thank goodness. At least you can showcase some preview text, but then they immediately crushed the preview text with pardon the cold outreach. Which is actually why I opened it, because I was like, okay, I got to give this person some feedback so that they know not to hit send on these things. Turned out the rep was actually brand spanking new to the role, and they were just trying to like learn, which is great. But at the same time, yeah, the marketing team clearly set them up to fail with this template.
You know what
So-
though, Will? I will say though, and I will go back to when I first moved over from marketing into a full cycle sales role for a little bit. My emails oddly looked pretty similar and linked to this and jargon to this, because it's that marketing speak that I had to lose over time. So
yeah,
listen, we all start somewhere, right?
totally, which is why I'm responding to them, right?
Absolutely.
And like, as you mentioned, these could all be separate emails. This could also be a separate email. This PS, this strange offering at the bottom, it made it feel very much so like it came from the marketing department. So let's go through the rewrites. You know, Christina, I put yours first because I thought I had to take a couple breathers after reading through this.
Yes. Oh, wait, my subject line should be product experience, by the way. Sorry, that's my bad. Product experience. All right. So I did like the short subject line too, but as you'll be able to see, I really shortened this email and I cheated a little bit. I researched the company a little bit too before doing this rewrite, just to make sure I kind of understood holistically what they did. Although the first email that we just went through explained everything that they did. So I tried to hone in on one specific piece. And I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the way that the first email was, positioned. Like if any of this aligns with like what you're currently thinking about, whereas I want to kind of just take a stab on one thing. So I just said, Will, Scott Lee said lavender is like Gong for email, and I just had to check it out for myself. So right there, I'm already showing that I've done a little bit of research on the company. And I know that one of your advisors said it's like Gong for email. It's on your website. It is in Williams, your co-founder's tagline on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's very clear that that caught my eye, right? Curious, how are you currently gauging product feedback, user experience, and platform adoption? I'm going to assume that you might already be taking a stab at that. More than likely you are, right? Especially since it's Gong for email. That means there's some data involved if I know the space at all. Company is helping product teams like yours raise the bar on the total product experience. With the coaching dashboard launch coming, because I saw this, right, when I was looking at the pricing and the packaging, is it worth connecting to take inventory of how you're tapping into your current product data?
Mhm.
That's it.
And
So, yep.
Yeah, one of the things that stood out to me, Christina, and yours is Scott Lee said at the front end. So I think about what the preview text is going to be. I'm in my inbox and I'm trying to decide which email I'm going to open. I see a name that's super familiar with me and they said something about me. I am destined to click into that email.
Yep. I wanted to play on your heartstrings just a little bit because I know how you feel about Scott Leese and obviously I know how you feel about lavender. So
That's great. This email is fantastic. I also love the subject line. It's like very much so a pattern break using the @ symbol. This is lovely. Also, the question at the end is very much so like a conversation starter. Very specific. It's very concrete, and it's something that I can like tactically give you feedback on. So cool. I will read through mine. So I went with subject line, just product data. My thinking here is I want it to almost just feel, I don't really want my subject line to catch your attention. I almost want it to feel like it came internal without being deceitful towards what's actually within the email. More just like a visual white noise where your eyes are going to quickly go straight to the preview text, because that's really where I want you to focus. So, hey, Will, as a seller, your tagline caught my eye. So the thinking there being, okay, you'll see as a seller, then that would likely pull me in to be like, okay, they're trying to speak from their experience about what I do. So naturally I'll be inclined to want to read it. As a seller, your tagline caught my eye. It's a simple idea, but it requires a lot of moving parts. I imagine getting users to engage with the whole product is hard. You wouldn't be surprised to hear that the first product interaction has a huge impact on churn. Curious to hear how we're helping companies drive better product adoption. So for this company, I focused in on the fact that they have a product tour that you can set up really easily without any code. I didn't get into the fact that it's easy to set up. I didn't get into the fact that it doesn't require any code. That stuff doesn't really matter. What matters is the problem, right? The product does require a lot of moving parts. Writing a good email is not just about what you say. It's about who you're saying it to, about how you say it. It's about how quickly you get it out on paper. And so, there are multiple facets to what is Lavender. Now, speaking to that would be, a very clever way of showcasing, I have experience. I've got credibility for what I'm doing here, right? Which is, you wouldn't be surprised to hear that first product interaction has a huge impact on churn, which is probably something that's on my mind, something that's important to me. And I'm just asking a general question of want to hear more about how we can help with your product adoption. Now, you've got great room to follow up because, most emails won't get a response. So, in all likelihood, you'll need to follow up and you can explain how you're doing that. But you also have piqued my interest with the level of personalization that comes from the first email.
I love this. It's simple. And I think, as a reader going through this, it gives you the opportunity to kind of have an internal dialogue. I imagine getting users to engage with the whole product is hard. Yeah, heck yeah, it is hard. You wouldn't be surprised to hear that the first product interaction has a huge impact on churn. No, not surprising, but churn is something that we're always trying to minimize. Yep.
Yeah.
Curious to hear how we're helping companies drive better product adoption. Yeah, I mean, what do I have to lose by saying just yes, right? I'd want to know, right? How are you doing this? So yeah, I really like how it's not only just a dialogue that this rep is trying to have, but it's a dialogue that I internally, as the recipient, can kind of have with myself. And it kind of quality checks the whole flow, right? So yeah, man, this one's hard. I think we both went a little bit of a different direction, except for brevity. We were both very brief, but
yeah, we both took the memo from the first one.
I think we tied. I think we might have tied this one.
Oh,
Can I say that? I loved yours.
I think yours is going to get more responses at scale because I'm more likely to open this email than I am my own because of the way you started it off. And so you're going to get more at bats.
Maybe.
This right here is fire. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. And the thing is some people might be listening to this and say, well, this is too personalized. Maybe it's not as scalable, but think about it in terms of a building block. All you have to do is change out that first phrase and with the coaching dashboard launch coming, right? Make it another product focus point for a prospect. So I like to do that, create kind of these frameworks or building blocks that you can then give reps creativity to kind of infuse their research into it, but you could still follow the same flow. It's just, this is very specific to you and to Lavender. And I might get away with sending it to, the other Will a couple weeks later and see if maybe he gets his attention, but yeah, you get it.
Well, this is great.
Awesome.
Well, cool. So
thanks for tuning in.
Episode 6, wrapped it up. Well, cool.